One. Hello, welcome. Thank you guys so much for watching. Today with me is Dr. Sage Breslin. She's a life and business breakthrough coach and a transformation psychologist. Yeah, I got that right. Nice. I've been saying the word psychotherapist about 50 times today for my other videos because I usually work with psychotherapists. So then that word was a little bit foreign when I read it. But, you know, she helps leaders and entrepreneurs get out of their heads so they can lead from their heart. Is there anything else that you'd like me to add to the introduction, Sage?
No, that's great. I guess psychotherapist is one of those titles that I carry as well because I'm a psychologist. I have loved stepping into the niche that I have. It's why I mentioned that I'm a breakthrough specialist, but like you, I mean, psychologist, clinician, healthcare provider, I guess they're all fit.
Yeah. So, you know, what brought you into this field and, you know, what was the turning point to you getting in?
Yeah, well, it's a long story, but if I could summarize it a little bit, I had a series of really unfortunate events that occurred in my life, and as a result, I ended up flatlining 8 separate times.
Wow.
And that in itself, I guess, makes me very unique. You know, most people don't die in one body and come back 8 times, but I guess that it is how and why I ended up doing what I do. I learned a lot about retooling and retransforming my life and about evolving because when you flatline, I don't know if you know, but you come back sort of hypersensitized. And when you do it 8 times, you come back like a lightning rod. So my ability to listen and really hear and know people is really much more intense than I think the average Jane. So I guess that's the first thing. The second thing is that what I learned during that process, I never did one of those white light things, but I met my version of God, and I had some extraordinary communication and learning and wisdom that came through all of that. And probably the most important thing that I learned is about connection to my own body, connection to spirit, connection to others. And that's what drove me to want to bring that to other people, because it makes an extraordinary difference when we are trying to lead others.
Can I ask you, so why do you think, or you know, what do you think causes the hypersensitivity? Can you describe the hypersensitivity?
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit like when you return, everything's on loud. But loud is everything tastes more intense, everything smells more intense, everything looks more intense. I think my level, I was intuitive. I was born clairvoyant. It's just a family thing. You know, if anybody would say, oh, I want to do that, you know, it's a little bit dicier than it sounds. Mm-hmm. But when I came back the first time, my connection with energy other than my own was extraordinarily high. So for instance, if somebody walked through the door and they were maybe not looking angry or acting angry, but felt anger inside their body, suddenly I would experience this intense anger and realize, like, oh my gosh, this person's angry. And, you know, as a girl, it was sort of like, this person's angry, stay away, you know. How that works in my world of work now is that sometimes clients don't know exactly what's getting in their way. Sometimes they can say, you know, I just don't feel great, or I don't feel inspired. And if they allow me to connect to them energetically, sometimes I can actually glean what it is and offer it up to them. And if it's a fit, then we leapfrog. They don't have to spend hours and hours trying to dig down and figure out what it is. We can actually just get them over the hurdle so that they can work on the next piece.
So that's interesting. So I guess another thing you said in the first part was connection to people. Well, I guess I kind of answered it, but why is, you know, the connection to people like so important? How can you talk about translating that through video and online?
Yes. I mean, I think if I could answer your question, if we can't connect heart to heart,
Hmm.
then we're not actually communicating authentically, right? If we can't connect to our own being, our own energy, our own passion, then we are really not bringing anything to the table. Because if I sat here and I lectured you like a talking head, you would, within a few minutes, just fade on out the door. You might click off, right? But if I say to you, Bryce, you have this incredible smile and this light shining through your eyes. I would love to know, like, what's bubbling up there? Like, what is that? I want some of that. That's very cool.
Uh,
Suddenly, it's like, oh, somebody's seeing me. Like, that's awesome. Like, I wonder who they are. And so, in terms of communicating either online, through video, I think it all starts with first your connection to yourself and bringing your truth, and then having the courage to actually connect to the other person that's in front of you. And if you can do that, then you can talk about anything. If you want to talk about business, talk about business. But business is all driven from the heart anyway.
mhm.
If you want to talk about leading a movement, you look at our greatest leaders. They led with this exquisite charisma and passion. You could feel it. It's that they could have been singing the alphabet, and we would have just said, "Oh my God, that is the most incredible alphabet ever,"
Uh,
because it was really coming from their passion. And that, to me, that is a connection with God and God, whatever that means to anybody. But it's a connection with spirit, and that's what really we look at coming through.
that's interesting. So wow, so there's two things that popped in my mind when I heard that last sentence. So we're talking about like charisma and passion. So for example, I'm going to be giving free trainings and webinars and things. How can I start to transfer my charisma and my passion to an audience I can't see? Does it start with me like getting grounded first, or?
Yeah, I would say that, that's sort of the work that I do.
Mm,
That's sort of like the basic foundation is how do you connect to yourself? And when you can be grounded, like I often will tell people, start with mindfulness, start with mindful eating,
uh,
where there's no TV, there's no phone, just sit with your food, taste it, smell it, enjoy the texture. And when you're at that level, then you can begin to tune into how your body feels. And when you're at that level, then you can tune into what it feels like to pull universal energy down into you.
mm,
And when you know what that feels like, you're tapping into the source. That's how you start anything. And honestly, it probably doesn't matter if you can visually see the people that you're speaking to, because you're really just bringing forth what is in your heart, what comes through you, not what comes from you, but what comes through you. And if you can bring that forward, the people who need that, the people who hunger for that,
mhm,
they will find it and they will consume it,
mm.
because that feeds them, and then they can get in the zone.
So mindfulness plus moving fast, right? Because oftentimes as entrepreneurs we're moving fast, especially when you start getting busy. Can you give some tips on that?
Um, yes, I would hope that everybody's seen The Matrix.
Uh,
What is The Matrix about? And what do you notice Neo doing? He slows down time,
mm,
right? He slows it down to the microsecond, the nanosecond. And an entrepreneur who's moving so fast that they can't slow down and watch the moment of connection, watch the moment of heart to heart, feel an exquisite droplet of, wisdom, or, that to me, it isn't, I get it. We are in a fast paced world, although I guess we've all been slowed down for a minute.
uh,
But I think that the key is actually to slow it all down so you can take it frame by frame when you need to. There are going to be times where we can go fast, and yeah, it probably won't hurt us. But in terms of um, creating a movement or a following or creating connection with students or members or clients, we've got to slow it all down.
mhm. Let me ask you this. So when things feel like they're moving too slow, working like today, for some reason I am extremely impatient. I went to bed probably like 30 minutes later than usual. And this today I'm like, oh, I'm so mad. I'm like, I should be at 1 million a month right now. I should be pushing. Why is my ads not firing as hard as they could be? You know, what are your tips to kind of taking that step back?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would always say, well, it's interesting that it's showing up for you slow right now, or it's showing up for you as a pause period. And then, I mean, me, I love prayer and meditation because it works for me. So when I go into prayer, I'm in gratitude to God. When I'm in meditation, I'm listening.
Hmm.
So I'm listening to what God says to me, or what my inner wisdom says to me, and I'll ask. So it's interesting right now, this pause we seem to be having.
Uh,
What's that about? And usually I can hear what it's about. I had an unusual experience this morning. I normally have kind of this beautiful routine I do every morning. It gets me grounded and ready to go. And I woke up and I knew it was going to be raining, but it was darker than normal. And I thought, wow, it must really be raining. So I went down to, let the dog out, and quickly realized that there were 4 inches of standing water. So the dog wasn't going to go out. And I remember the last time there were 4 inches of standing water in my patio, and that's when the house flooded. And I thought, oh no, I know this routine. So I moved water for about half hour before one of my sons showed up. And I said, get out of here, help me. And I just kind of been, complaining isn't the right word, in the last couple of nights, how, we've been on this quarantine, and I have 3 teenagers at home still, all boys, and they kind of been doing their own thing, playing video games, right? I was kind of hungry to be with them, for them to do something with me.
mhm.
Okay, now apparently I'm a very powerful manifester, because in 2 hours time, all 3 boys were moving water with me. And my middle child, who's 16, said, hey mom, do you think we're working together now? And he looked up and he's like, oh my God, you've got to stop asking God for these things.
Yeah.
I looked up and I was like, okay, God, we're doing it's fine, stop the water. So, like you, I could have been angry. I could have
Uh,
been like, I've got an interview, I've got things to do. But instead, I just started to laugh, and I thought, okay, once again, my prayers were answered. And what I've learned, which apparently I didn't do correctly last night, was saying, like, be more specific in those prayers. God, I'd like us to spend time playing a board game.
yeah.
But instead it was moving water, and,
Yeah.
looks like we've stemmed the tide for now. So I think the short answer to your question is, when you get in that place of frustration or feeling stuck, I'd shift perspectives. I'd look at your narrative and say, well, okay, what am I stuck about? Like, am
Uh,
I mindfully and intentionally creating a barrier to what I believe that I should have? Is there any reason why that's not appropriate for me to have that right this second? Is there anything I can be doing differently that would allow me to be more effective? Am I sabotaging? There are lots of questions we can ask, either ourselves or somebody greater than ourselves. And oftentimes we'll come up with the answer.
mhm. Interesting. Yeah, it was a pretty good week overall. It was just like literally as soon as I came back from taking like a break, I went to the grocery store, and when I came back home, I was like so mad. I was so angry for about
Well,
20 minutes.
you know
Yeah.
what? That I would say we have to be really careful right now,
Uh,
because the collective energy is super stressed. And so when you go into a public arena, especially like a facility, like a grocery store, you're going to get the collection of all of the employees, all the
mm,
staff, and all the people in the store. So whether they're anxious or frustrated or angry, you're going to wear it. You're going to walk out wearing it, unless you've prevented that by bubbling yourself up before you go in. I'll often tell people, you want to get out of the grocery store, and now we have like a kind of a sanitary, technique. We get home, we strip off our clothes, they go into the washer, we deal with the food and the packaging, and then we step into a shower. And if people are following that, I will then say, okay, when you're in the shower, wash everybody else's energy off and do it like a ritual. You're scrubbing, and you're saying, and I don't need anybody else's energy but my own. Thank you, God. This is wonderful. Thank you, water. And when you get out, you're basically saying, okay, this is me now. This is me going forward. So I'm constantly checking myself to make sure that I'm not wearing anybody else's energy. Because if I am, I'm no good to anybody.
Okay. Interesting. So let me, one topic that keeps coming up is gratitude. So, why is that so important to you to always say thank you and stuff?
I mean, I guess I find it uplifting. I think that if all of us were able to just have gratitude for anything, that style of energy, that valence, if you will, imagine if we were all able to just have one positive valence per day. Mm-hmm. Imagine how it would affect this global energy. Imagine that each time we connect with someone, if we could just find one nugget, just one, imagine how that would be going forward. I used to play a game with myself. I still do it from time to time, that I would go shopping, when we were allowed to kind of mull around the aisles and when it wasn't dangerous to go shopping. And I would spot somebody that I felt like could really just use some support or whatever, just some bliss. And I would pick one thing and I would land a compliment, any kind of compliment. Sometimes the compliments are difficult. A mom who's, very frustrated with her child and yelling or carrying on, being able to go forward and say, it's really hard at this age, but it gets better. Anything. Somebody who is trying to make great food choices and they're looking at all the labels, being able to say, that's awesome that you're even reading the labels. I don't give myself the time to do that. Anything like that. And that person just gets a little heart swell. Maybe that person then is happier when they go home. So for me, the notion of gratitude is not just being grateful for what you have or where you are. It's just allowing yourself to experience or feel just the positive lift of gratitude.
Okay. Interesting. So I know that the virus and the situation may be slowing some things down. Do you have any special projects or anything coming out soon, or?
Yeah. So I have a couple of different things. I have 5 books on the market. The 5th book is a bestseller called Breaking Through. And that is something that I do a fairly good amount of public speaking about, just to teach entrepreneurs and leaders how to be more conscious, how to kind of get out of their own ways and improve the way they approach business and the world. I have a mastermind that I'm hoping will launch in about September. Kind of depends on how all of this goes. And I have an online course that will be opening at the end of the summer. Might be in the summer, depending on how things go. And that will be really an opportunity for a self-directed course plus group coaching and accountability, so that people can get the kind of support they need to improve work and personal habits. And then the last thing that I have been doing and will continue to do, it's a little bit difficult with COVID, but I am onboarding people for VIP days and weekends. So we're hoping that will resume by about September, since I need to kind of be in close contact with the folks that I work with. So that's the projects that are on board right now.
Nice. And then where can people go to find out more about you?
So my corporate website is sagewisdominstitute.com. And then I have a new website, which probably shouldn't have hit publish so soon because there are a couple of links that still need to be corrected. But that's just sagebreslin.com. And it does have more up-to-date information about me personally and about my programs. If anyone is trying to tap on something that doesn't work, please offer me a little grace for a minute. And if there's anything that you can't get on that site, you can just go to the corporate site.
Cool. I really appreciate your time, and really appreciate the tip about, washing off other people's energy. That's pretty good. I never heard that one before, so that was really good to hear that.
Good, good.
Excellent. Yes.
We all got to safeguard ourselves in the way that we can.
Excellent. So thanks so much for, taking the time. I appreciate it. Really good talking to you and meeting you. So excellent.
Great to talk to you as well. Thanks so much for your time.
Excellent. And if you guys would like more great content like this from experts who are trying to improve themselves and improve the world, I recommend you go check out the link in the description below to my free group where we help you guys do just that. If that's what you're searching for, go ahead, click on that link. See you guys soon. Thanks once again. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this as much as we enjoyed creating it. Talk to you guys soon. And we're ending in 3 and 2 and 1.